Hello and welcome to the Wedding Guide podcast. I'm your host, Pete the Celebrant, and today we are going to wrap up 2020, the year that was. I'm going to share everything, my feelings about the year, my emotions about 2020, what it's been like. We're going to talk about the podcast and we're going to talk about those who have been on it. We're going to look at the most popular podcasts as well, the particular episodes. So please enjoy as we wrap up and then get ready for an incredible 2021. I love that song. It's a great song. It was between one or another one that I was choosing, and it was getting just mixed results. Like it was almost 50-50. And I was like, you know what? This is the one. And every time I add that song to an episode, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I hope you enjoy it. It brings me much happiness and joy, much like wrapping up this year brings me much happiness and joy, not simply because we are out of the worst that we know of, at least in Australia with COVID, but we're coming to the end of the year, and it's nice to look back at the year that has been and to be in a different spot, in a different place, where weddings are taking place, where I'm doing weddings currently. I just did 3 on the weekend, and it was so much fun. It really was fun to get back into it. And strangely enough, it was almost this thought played on my mind, like, am I going to do okay? Am I going to be all right? How will I go with this? And I had so much fun. And 2 were weddings, 1 was an elopement, and I just loved it. It was really cool just to see everyone. It's nice to see people smiling and they're happy and they're dressed in their best, and you got the couple there and they're happy, and they should be, it's their wedding day, but it's just it's a lot of fun. So it's nice that things are back happening again. And I wanted to wrap up 2020. I wanted to share my thoughts on this year. And I remember the first weddings where we were talking, I was still making jokes, like toilet paper jokes. Because it was something just overseas at the moment. It really hadn't hit Australia. But then when it did hit, like March, everything just went, a switch just got turned off and everything just stopped. All events, nothing, like anything entertainment, it was the first to go. And I remember being in the run of everything, in the flow, and all of a sudden, I'm not going to meet that couple because I don't have a wedding coming up in 3 months' time that I know of, and I'm not going to have to do that rehearsal anymore because that wedding's not going to be done this week. And I was sort of thinking, what do I do? And I had no idea. And I genuinely, I had a bit of the freak out moment. I think a lot of us did. It was weird, disorientating. Then I sort of got into a groove of, I can be at a slower pace. This is nice. And so I remember mulching my garden. That was like my biggest project. It's like mulch the garden. I had this thing, if we can just mulch the garden, we'll be okay. So we mulched the garden, looked incredible, looked great. And then homeschooling was sort of on and off during that stage. So it was more just time with family. But I get a little bit itchy just doing, I kind of sit and do nothing, but I want to do something that was interesting to me. And I'd been thinking about doing a podcast, and that's what led me to starting the Wedding Guide podcast. I wanted to help couples understand where vendors are coming from, and I wanted to help couples who are planning learn from other couples. And there's definitely going to be a few more couples on next year. I've only done 2 so far. Out of the 20, this will be the 23rd episode. We've only had 2 couples come and share. So I'm looking forward to having more couples next year. But I do remember when it all went south and coming to this place of, I want to do something. I don't want to just wait for all this to happen in terms of weddings. So I thought, let's do a podcast. And I remember talking to Michael Briggs, who was on my first episode, or technically episode 2. And he helped me with, all the different gear and stuff. And that was really good. Interviewed him, and it sort of went from there. And he was a big part. Thank you, Briggs. You gave him some great advice right from the start. So I really appreciate that. It's been huge. Then throughout the year, I was doing one episode a week. So there's still a fair few more days and things to do in that time. And I'd been watching my kids watch YouTube every hour of every day. And I just thought, why not? I could do that. I could try that. And so I created Cheezy Pete, which is a kids educational YouTube video, which is still in its very infant days, but it's been fun. It's gearing up. Man, I wish I had to go out to places now, and went to Rainer's Orchard, and I went to a place called Rare Bears, which is local to myself in Eltham, a kids place thing, and that was fun. So look, if you know anyone, kids, or don't watch it as an adult. Like, don't sit there and think, oh, I have a wine or a beer and I'll watch this. It will turn your brain into putty. Don't advise it. For kids, it's a lot of stimulus, a lot of stuff going on. And it's nice to hear from parents as well. It's like, you saved us from a tantrum today. Thank you very much. They loved it. So that's nice to hear. So yeah, it was nice, at least the silver lining of, while my pockets were empty because of no weddings, it was fun to be able to create and have this space to just think about, what do I want to do? Well, I want to start a podcast, and we started the Wedding Guide podcast, and that gave me a great chance to connect with other vendors and to chat with couples and to help couples. Essentially, got to start Cheezy Pete. That was good fun, and loving that as well. And I'm looking at continuing this as well now that weddings are still taking place. Both of these are going to continue. And I am loving this. This obviously helped me stay in contact with a lot of vendors throughout this time, because it was pretty dark days. Like, everyone had no idea what's going on. And just for us in our industry, particularly in Victoria, we're in complete lockdown, can't go more than 5 kilometers. You're wearing a mask before you go to bed. And it just felt some dark days, just the uncertainty and just the not knowing. So it's nice to now be the other side of that. But we will continue this. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'd love to hear from you. If you are a regular listener, please get in contact, and I want to know how I can make this better. And maybe you have some vendors or couples that you'd like to suggest for me to interview. I'd love to hear about them. I'd love to, at least know who you would recommend having on this podcast. Maybe there's something that you would recommend change on the podcast. Feel free, get in contact. I don't know what I don't know, and would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And I hope you know as well, you can go and find the transcripts on my website, and you can also watch them on YouTube. So I've tried to make this as beneficial for all those who come on the podcast as possible, by giving them another element of, hey, if you listen to this podcast, you'll hear how my process runs, or to try and make this valuable for them, because they're giving me their time, and I want to make sure that it helps them in the long run, and it helps couples as well. And not everyone likes to listen to podcasts. I'm a huge podcast fiend and Audible book fan. But some people, they want to sit and watch YouTube, or they want to watch on Insta or IGTV, and it's all on there. So whatever platform people use, I've tried to make it as accessible as possible. I thought it would be interesting, before I go and individually say thank you to all those who have shared in these episodes, I thought it would be interesting to share with you the top 3 episodes, at least the most listened to. Probably not very, ironically, it's not very ironic. The first one, Meet Your Guide, people come on, what's all this about? Well, let's meet the person. So that's got the most, but that's not a brag. It's just makes sense. The second one, or I'd say is the top one, is Darcy Birch, her first appearance from Easy Weddings. That has got the most hits, the most listens. And then second, we have Bottle Brush Films, our videographers. And then we have Briggsy talking about photography. So I just thought you might be interested of seeing the most listened to. Is there a huge gap? No, there's not a huge gap between all the others, but still those ones ranking the highest. And on YouTube, COVID Safe Weddings, once again with Darcy Birch. Obviously, everyone just loves Darcy Birch. She is awesome, so I get it. And hers has the most views on YouTube. I would like to say a huge thank you to all my guests. It has been, well, let's be honest, no one wants to just hear me yabber on. Obviously, will for this one and for the first one, but it's more interesting and it's important to be able to speak to others in this industry and get a different perspective. Particularly, I'm seldom I rock up, I do my thing, and if I'm not staying for the MC, I normally sort of say farewell. So to have photographers or videographers who are there so the all day and all night, and then you've got those who've like florists who are preparing way beforehand, drop it all off, and that's their part done. And then you've got the photographers and that doing all the work afterwards. It's good to hear what the process is like, hear the questions that couples are asking to try and help those who are currently planning just be a step ahead. So first we have Michael Briggs on that episode number 2. Thank you, Briggsy. Once again, you helped me just with the setup and just getting the podcast off the ground. So I appreciate your time with that as well, just your expertise in that. And he does have Chasing the Light. I hope I got that right. Check out that podcast, his podcast. It's doing great. Then we have Paula from Small Things Co. episode 3, and that was the only episode actually done in person. That was before, literally like the day or a few days before everything just went into lockdown and you couldn't leave home. And that was nice to actually get out and interview someone face to face. And the rest have been over Zoom, which nice and convenient. Sometimes the sound quality hasn't always come through as great. Sometimes the video hasn't been awesome, maybe because someone hasn't actually pressed play on one of them, myself. But that was a lot of fun to actually get to chat to someone face to face. Then we had Anthea for episode 4, Anthea from Yarra Valley, and actually heard that, the farm, Yarra Valley, and I heard that she's moved, so I'm going to get in contact with her. But thank you for Anthea. What an incredible laugh. She made me feel so special, but we have a lot of fun just catching up. So I need to make sure that wherever you are, Anthea, we still get to hang out and just say hello. Then episode 5, Andrew and Grace from Bottle Brush Films. These two do an incredible job with all their videography. Not only that, but they are an extremely quirky couple, very funny couple. Just follow their Instagram because they're a crack up. They're amazing. Then we had Maximilian from Monsieur Cocktail in episode 6, providing you with your sensory experiences. If you're looking to give someone a unique wedding present or any present, any time of the year, birthday present, tell you what, Max can put on a show. But particularly for getting people together, wedding related, perfect person to get there. He's not only does he have a very just sexy voice because it's French, but genuinely he's a great person, and he does incredible cocktails, I hear, and I'm looking forward to enjoying one day. Then with Adam and Nadia, the Grime and Broom, they are an incredible couple. It was nice to reconnect with them and chat with them. They're funny. They are a funny couple. Then episode 8 spoke with Lucy. Lucy has, she had to rescheduling twice, and she's still not married yet. She's getting married to Tom in October. It's going to happen. It will happen. We'll make sure of it. Then in episode number 9, Callan Young talking about music, and particularly individual musos coming and playing on the day, particularly acoustic as well. And then he does some DJing, and I believe he's back doing gigs, which I think a lot of us are back doing gigs, and we're just excited to be back doing them. Then episode 10, we had the French perspective with Mark Cam. Just a bit of fun, exploring some cultural differences. Episode 11, this is where things changed a little bit, and for the better. So we had Easy Weddings, or Darcy Birch from Easy Weddings, come and share. And it was when I invited them to come and share and just talk about themselves, that just talked about, hey, one day it would be great to have you come on as a sponsor if you'd like to. And after a few more conversations, they were like, hey, let's do it. We'd love to. And it's just been a fantastic partnership. It feels nice to have this valued. And I love hearing from people sending me individual messages and DMs and just saying, hey, loving the podcast. It's great. Or we've recommended this to people. It's been nice for that, but it's also nice to have Australia's largest directory say, hey, we want to get behind this and we want to just support you with information as well. And that's been fantastic. So thank you so much to Easy Weddings for coming and sponsoring this. And thank you, Darcy Birch. You've come on twice now, and you've just done a ripper job every single time. Then we have Sarah Ed, the Oracle. Absolutely love Sarah. She's great. I have so much fun chatting to her. I feel like we're kindred souls. We know, we get it. We get it. But she's just really smart, much smarter than I am. And that's probably a common trend with most people I meet, but that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. I'm secure with who I am, what I can do, and she is awesome at knowing every little bit of legal info when it comes to weddings. Then we have Anita Buszewski from Bridesmaids Dresses. Tell you what, it was just great talking, even just behind the scenes. She's a very savvy businesswoman. She knows what she's talking about. She's very switched on, great at what she does, but she also cares about the bridesmaids and the family members of couples. She cares about their experience. Then we had Jane Libis from Umbrella Law. Jane is a lot of fun, and to talk about prenups and to talk about, the D word, divorce. Divorce is not sort of the word I like to talk about with couples unless we're sort of joking about it, like it was with a couple last night we did a FaceTime with, and that was pretty funny. She was a lawyer, ironically, as well. But talking to Jane, talking about his prenups and talking about love and counseling. And look, I'll be honest, a big thing that I recommend for couples is go do some form of pre-marriage counseling. And it's not because anything's wrong. It's only because there's possibly some conversations you haven't had yet, because rarely do you sit and have some of the conversations because you go into a relationship with just natural expectations from our experiences in life. And these conversations, even having someone guide them or going through just questionnaire or there's so many different ways, but having a counselor is definitely one way. Having these conversations can just bring up stuff that if you hadn't had those conversations, you might not actually know some incredible aspects and deeper things about your partner whom you're about to marry. So I would say do it and treat it as almost a bit of a gold digging thing, not as like a gold digger, is the wrong term, but you're digging for gold within them and for deeper intimacy. So I encourage that. I think it's really helpful. And I'll naturally point out if you're really opposed or even fearful of doing so, maybe that's some red flags, but I'm not in the red flag business. But I think it's important if you're going to join someone for the rest of your life, hey, get to know them really well. Then we have Haley Barberis from the Baker Boys coming to talk to us about getting bands at your weddings. Then we had Darcy Birch come again and talk about COVID-safe weddings. Please go to their website at Easy Weddings. It's easyweddings.com.au/COVID. I use that almost daily just because I want to double check. And if I got that right, do I have to wear a mask at this wedding? Right now we don't, which is fantastic. However, unless it's inside, and I know that because I was just on their website today talking to a bride for tomorrow. Then we had episode 17, Annie Moz, because I wanted to speak with someone outside of Victoria. Tell us how are weddings being done? Are they still happening? Tell us, give us some information. So that was great to talk with her. And then of course, unholy matrimony for couples who don't like doing things, the Instagram expected way. Unholy matrimony for those who want a little bit of a moodier type wedding. I like it. It's probably not me. I'm not the moodier type person. But for those who are, what a magazine, what an Instagram. Check it out. Then Jessie Newell from Queensland. That's right, Queensland. And again, chatting to us about the venue space they've got up there. They enjoy sun all year round. I hear that's awesome. Thank you, Jessie. Then Naomi Therese, fat and skinny. I just loved that. Naomi is just so genuine. She's so funny. And the thing that I remember most is that how she said, what she was saying was, she feels like she's so gifted to do her role now because of her life experiences. But how she said that was that I feel like I've been kissed on the dick by a fairy. And that just, I don't know why, but I still just crack up when I think of that. She's awesome. And Fat and Skinny honestly make the most incredible food. And food is my love language. And we had an industry event only a few weeks ago, and they catered, and just the lamb. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Fat and Skinny, check it out. Eat their food. Incredible. Episode 20, we had Lucy Sherwood and Amy DeGroot from Easy Weddings to share with us the industry stats about this year. And I believe that that is still yet to come out. Oof, we're all just holding our chairs in anticipation. I know I am. Well, actually, I may have already seen it, but I know others are. So yeah, it's going to be good. Then Colleen Haggerty, episode 21, how to choose your wedding venue. Some great venues that Showtime Events looks after here in Victoria. Then we have Caroline Linares to help me understand about flowers and floristry and all that and how it works with weddings. And then, of course, 23, Jordan's number, the wrap up. I think we're all pretty surprised we actually made it to episode 23, but it is good. It's nice that it's continued throughout this time, and I've wanted to prove to myself, because I think even talking to Briggsy, he was like, look, recording is not the hard part. It's actually putting it up there, and it's continuously doing it. And I'd sort of challenged myself. I was like, I'm not going to be one of those podcasts that does like 3 episodes and says, well, just wasn't for me. I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So it's been fun, and I'm looking forward to next year as well, doing many, many more. So on that, please send me any recommendations of people, of couples, of vendors. And I've done many vendors that are here based in Victoria because I am currently a Victorian. I, yes, grew up in New South Wales, but I'm down here, I'm based here. I know the people here in this industry, but there are so many incredible experts all around Australia. So if you recommend them, or you are one of them, get in touch. Would love to hear from you. And if you're just enjoying listening, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. Just send me a, hey, enjoying the podcast. It means a lot. It really does. And I guess on that, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for those who have messaged and said hello. And there are going to be some great podcasts coming next year. We've got a few lined up already. It's going to be good. So thank you. And thank you once again to Easy Weddings for being our official sponsor. It's been fun. And to all those who are looking forward to getting married next year, I hope it is an incredible day. For all my fellow wedding industry vendors, I hope you're enjoying being back. I feel like it's been a bit of a whirlwind. It feels like someone's just flicked a switch. As they did was off, now it's like, we're back on. It's gone a bit nuts, but it really is genuinely great to be back. It's nice to be doing what we're good at, what we enjoy, what we find fun doing. It's nice. It's really nice. So I just wish you guys all the best with this next year, and feel free to get in touch. I feel like this industry's definitely has its own little like pockets of, those who are close, but I feel like it's a very close-knit industry and community, and I really enjoy that, and I enjoy being part of that. So yeah, well, Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a happy New Year, and I thoroughly look forward to being your wedding guide host once again next year. Farewell. Bye.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.